Okay, Google, play the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air soundtrack.
Sure, The Fresh Prince of Bel Air by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Playing on Spotify.
This is a story all about how my life got turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there, tell you how I became the prince of a town called Okinawa. Okay, Google, stop the music. So, tomorrow, my wife's coming home. She's been away for a while. I've been here alone. That's why I've been filming these videos in my living room, turned it into like a little recording studio. But now it's time to get back to normal life. So, I have to clean this place up. Time to clean the house. Okay, so far so good. I've never actually cleaned the house before, so I think it's going okay. Do you guys know why dogs are afraid of vacuums? What is the deal with that? I don't know why dogs are so afraid of vacuums. My dog's also afraid of Google Assistant, so whenever we summon her, it's kind of a confusing experience for a little doggo, so I feel kind of bad. One thing I like doing the dishes. I don't know what it is, but I'm kind of a fan of doing the dishes. I like it. I could do dishes all day. Vacuuming, I had to figure out how that thing works. No problem, got through it. Cleaned some countertops, changing the sheets on the bed, and I think that's mostly it. I didn't tear this place up too bad. So anyway, I'll get to the point here in a minute. Let me finish cleaning. All right, kitchen's clean, so I'm gonna go into the bedroom, change the sheets, and get the bed all nice. So, fun fact, I just learned the other day that cruise ship, if you guys have heard, where the people are quarantined with the coronavirus, guess where its last stop was that it made before it got quarantined? You guessed it, Okinawa, Japan. So we're stuck on this little island with a, outbreak probably. So be on the lookout for coronavirus. That was the wrong corners, so I'm gonna start this over. I don't know what's happening. Okay, this has gone on way too long. I'm gonna pause the video now. I'm gonna finish making this bed and get on with it. All right, so back to the story of what happened to me last year, part 2, 3, wherever I'm at. So last year, let me start by saying my whole life been extremely healthy, been extremely lucky, really blessed with that genetically. Managed to keep myself healthy, no big broken bones or big injuries or anything like that. Last year, I got diagnosed with a fairly rare, incurable, life-changing disease. Now, it's actually not that big of a deal. It could be in the future, but it's not right now. If you look, if you can see my hands here, right there on the palm of my hand, if you see like the little lump, and on this hand too, a little lump. That's called Dupuytren's, and my wife, who's specialized in orthopedics, actually an orthopedic thing. She was feeling my hand one day, and she was like, "What's that?" No, it's a little callus on my hand. This was a couple years ago. She was like, "Oh, okay, let's just keep an eye on that." I'm like, okay, no, whatever, no big deal. I didn't think anything of it. I actually had on this hand, I've had this going on since I was about 24 years old, thinking that it was a callus on my hand, and then in the last 2 years, it started to kind of grow and extend up the length of my palm here. Basically, what it is it's a disease where your body's has an unregulated production of collagen in your hands, and what ends up happening is your hands they get like a bridge that kind of forces them shut or twisted like this. So it's affected my ring finger and my pinky finger on this hand, and then so far my ring finger on this hand. All in all, it hasn't affected me virtually at all at this point. Some pain in my hands, not a big deal. It could affect me in the future. It could be years down the road. There's treatments for it. There's surgery. There's somewhat non-invasive treatments. But doctor explained it to me basically. There's nothing you can do to stop it. It's going to happen at whatever pace it's going to happen. That's all there is to it. You got it. It's not, it's not going to kill you. There's nothing like that at all. But just a thing that I had. And the reason, not this isn't like a woe is me type thing at all, but the reason it affected me was because my whole life, up until this point, I felt pretty bulletproof physically, like really healthy, athletic. Nothing could stop me basically. But this was the first kind of experience of, you know, your body's going to change, your body's going to break down, things are going to happen to you that affect your health. And what ended up happening with me was this kind of first thing. I know the first thing, right? It's not a big deal. I didn't cope with it well, and that's it. But this isn't like nothing to feel bad about here or anything like that at all. So what happened though was I started to get kind of paranoid about other health things. Like for the first time ever in my life, I was like, what am I eating? What does alcohol do to your body? Like what does sugar do to your body? Like things I had never considered before, because even though I'm in my mid 30s now, I felt really good my whole life, and I never really considered the consequences of diet and exercise and genetics and staying healthy. I know it sounds stupid, like it sounds ridiculous to me now talking about it, but it kind of just like flipping a switch, attitude change on the way that I look at things. For me though, it didn't. I didn't deal with it in the absolute best way for sure. I ended up, up there on Dr. Google all the time, like, oh, if you have this, what else can you get? Like, what is this a sign of? Is there an underlying cause? And I was going down some really, really deep rabbit holes on this stuff. And I was going to my doctor quite a bit, my primary care. And ultimately, he was like, you're a hypochondriac. Like, you have a serious problem with worrying about your health. Like, you have bad health anxiety. And I have anxiety issues separately as well. But I was like, okay, so it doesn't make me feel better. But and this was starting to affect me, like taking time out of my quality of life, where I'm like worried about what's going on with my body. And so he basically has, come to the conclusion, check me out, I'm in good health, that I'm just like, it's psychologically, I'm stressing about this in an unusually high amount. So I, and he said, you just have to not worry about it. And that's easier said than done when you're dealing with an anxiety issue. But he said, got bad news for you. Everybody's gonna die. You're gonna die too someday. And I was like, yeah, but I get that. The thing about having really bad health anxiety is it's not that you're like I don't really feel like I'm scared of dying or one day or getting sick. The thing about being like a hypochondriac basically is you're certain it's happening right now. So it's not that I'm scared of it happening someday. I'm sure it's happening now, and that's what causes so much stress about it. And I was really stressed out about it, and I really withdrew a lot, kind of worrying about this stuff. And it all stemmed from kind of like one bad thing. And talking to my doctor, he said it's common when if you do get sick, like somebody who's healthy gets sick, or if somebody close to them gets sick, like if somebody you love gets cancer, it's common to think that you're going to get cancer or Alzheimer's, something like that. It's like your first kind of time kind of assessing your mortality, so to speak. And that was something that I did not do well with. Like I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't going out with my friends. I was being weird. I was like always checking myself out, worried about every little thing. And I had to kind of work through some kind of healthy coping mechanisms for that kind of stuff. Doing a lot better. Like I've been saying, things are good now. I think additional stressors in life, like my relationship, moving to Japan, things like that, kind of, potentially leaving my job, leaving my friends, leaving San Diego. Those things kind of, they stack up. And ultimately that's how it came out. That's how it showed up for me, was basically turned into a total hypochondriac, withdrawn, not being around. So if you knew me during last year, and I felt, I was really not present, not showing up, not myself, that's a really big part of the reason why. So yeah, just want to tell you guys that this is not a big deal right now. This is going to be a long ongoing thing. I'll probably talk about it more in the videos, because there's a Dupuytren's and I'll spell that out here. There's a Dupuytren's Facebook group where they talk about this disease for people who have it. I see a lot of people on there really stressed at early stages. I see people out there who have had surgery and are doing well. It commonly affects older people. Like, I'm really young to get it. So normally it's like people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. It's not common when you're in your 20s and 30s, but it's not, impossible either. So maybe you know somebody who's had it. Maybe you see somebody who kind of their hands always like this. Recently, John Elway came out and said he had it. Vince Neil from Motley Crue, he has it. It's also known as the Viking disease. You might have heard it called the Viking disease because it's primarily affects people of Northern European descent, which I guess, that must be me. So not a huge deal, dealing with those things a lot better now. I'm totally healthy otherwise. I'm feeling great. So that was a hurdle for me. I think part of it was, you're out of the, being out of the military, feeling like, a lot of purpose was missing in my life, getting ready to make a big, from separating from the military, getting ready to make a big move, life changes, and then, one big catalyst really triggered a lot of those things. So anyway, that's it for now. That's it for this video. Thanks for tuning in. Comment down below if you have any experience with Dupuytren's, somebody who has had it, or maybe you have it yourself. I hope you don't. But if you do know anything about it or you want to know more, feel free to comment down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I'm going to be sharing a lot more content. And thanks for tuning in to me and to what the Scuttlebutt Show is turning into. I really appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys soon.